We have a number of innovative subnational governments in the room who the Climate Group have worked with over the years. I didn't mention, well, Jim mentioned that I had worked with the Climate Group as well, but we have one here tonight, Scotland, and Dr. McLeod, who is the Climate Change Minister, Environment Minister for Scotland. And Scotland is a low-carbon powerhouse. They lead Europe in their ambition to be 100% renewables, not in 20 or 30 years, but in the next 5 years. And they are, I read this on the internet and they haven't confirmed, so it could be not true, but I hear Orkney is already generating 110% of its electricity from renewables, and that they have a high ratio of electric vehicles to per capita. And so it's with great pleasure that I welcome Dr. McLeod.
Well, thank you very much, Molly, for that very kind introduction. And first of all, I would just like to say how absolutely thrilled I am to be here at the launch of Energy Unlocked. And this is exactly the kind of initiative that we need to see more of. And I'm, absolutely delighted to be able to give my support to this tonight. And I must say, it's an absolutely fantastic venue as well for tonight's launch. Now, I've been invited here tonight to speak about Scotland's low carbon journey, and I feel it is an important story for me to share with you all this evening. Now, back in 2009, Scotland's Parliament acted unilaterally to set world-leading emission reduction targets, aiming for a 42% reduction in our greenhouse gas emissions by 2020 and 80% by 2050, and that is compared to our 1990 levels. And I'm delighted to say that we are over 3/4 of the way to meeting our world-leading 2020 emission reduction target of 42% compared to our 1990 levels, having reduced our greenhouse gas emissions in 2013 by 38.4%, which is far greater than the 31.7% that was originally anticipated. Now, our legislation, that was designed, to provide certainty for our businesses and the public about Scotland's low-carbon future. And our low-carbon transition, that is an absolutely key priority in our government's economic strategy. And across Scotland, we are benefiting from an estimated 45,000 low-carbon and environmental service jobs. So all the evidence from Scotland shows that the low-carbon transition, it delivers investment, it delivers jobs, it delivers trade, and it delivers economic growth. And the energy sector in Scotland also has a lot to be proud of. And our renewable electricity output, that has risen threefold in 10 years, and the equivalent now of half of our entire electricity use is met by renewables. So in total, we now have 7.4 gigawatts, of installed renewable generation capacity from a range of renewable sources. On energy demand, we've achieved a 13.3% reduction against a 2005 to 2007 baseline, and already over our 12% target figure and well in advance of our target date of 2020. And that isn't all, because this year we also hit our community and locally owned renewable energy target 5 years ahead of schedule. We now have over 500 megawatts of capacity across nearly 12,000 individual installations. Now, that target will be worth up to £2.2 billion in revenue over the lifetime of these projects and schemes, and that will help to transform many of our local communities across Scotland. And that's because of projects like the Point in Shetland, the Point in Shanwick, which is a community-owned wind farm on the Isle of Lewis in the far north of Scotland. And that's at 9 megawatts. That is the biggest of its kind in the UK, and we expect it to be operational later this year. And that will generate around £1 million a year for a local community. And the people, what's fantastic about this is the very fact that the people there on the Isle of Lewis, they will be able to decide for themselves how to spend it. Whether that's to support employment, improve facilities in the local community, or increase tourism. But I think what it does show, ladies and gentlemen, is just how our local energy systems can transform our communities that go, in ways that just go far beyond energy in itself. And that kind of project, it only happens because of the tenacity and the ambition of the people involved. But the right support, the right support is also absolutely crucial. You've got private bodies like Santander and public bodies like our Scottish Enterprise who deliver our Renewable Energy Investment Fund, and of course our Community and Renewable Energy Scheme also have a very important part to play. So now, it is crucial. It's crucial for us that the strategic grid links to our islands are delivered to allow the islands to be able to reach their full potential. Now, Scotland, we've always been at the forefront of offshore wind research and development, and we are determined, absolutely, that we continue to developing floating offshore wind, which can help us to take advantage of our offshore wind resource, as well as further reducing our costs. Now, just last month, we granted consent for the world's largest floating offshore wind site off the coast of Peterhead. And the eyes of the world, we know that they are on the Maygen project, which is the world's largest planned tidal array development. And it's the first of a kind project which has received over £23 million of support from the Scottish public sector. So I'm sure, and I'm hoping, that you will agree that Scotland has much to be proud of, but we do still face challenges. But our ambitions as a government, they are set out in our 2013 electricity generation policy statement to largely decarbonise our electricity grid by 2030, to greatly enhance our community renewables, and also to have a balanced generation mix that is unchanged. But we are now looking to develop a new overarching energy strategy for Scotland, and our priorities for that work will be to first of all develop a whole system view and a holistic policy prescription that will consider energy supply and end use, encompassing our demand reduction, energy efficiency, transport and heat use. Secondly, to optimise the benefits to Scotland's communities, our consumers and our businesses, recognising energy's contribution to Scotland's competitiveness, our sustainable growth, and in tackling our inequalities, including fuel poverty. And also, just finally, is about making our national energy strategy a local energy strategy, aggregating that supply and demand at the local level to create the new models of energy provision that much permit a greater community stake in our energy system. So our overall vision will be to reduce the overall energy demand in the system in the first place, further addressing our household fuel poverty and helping to reduce costs to improve the competitiveness of our businesses and energy-intensive industries and the efficiency of our public sector. Now, we know that we need more local heat generation and supply. We need more energy storage at transmission, distribution and household levels, and we have many of the building blocks in place. Now, in June, Scottish ministers designated energy efficiency of all Scotland's buildings as a national infrastructure priority. And Scotland's energy efficiency programme, that will build on the substantial investment that the Scottish Government has already made and will improve the energy performance of all of our buildings in Scotland over a 15 to a 20-year period. And meanwhile, our local Energy Challenge Fund is investing over £20 million in major demonstrator projects to showcase the value of local energy economies with multi-technology supply linked directly to our local demand. But what is not in any doubt, however, is that, Scotland we have vast resources for our energy. Per head of population, we are the most energy-rich nation in the EU. And of course, all of this, is vitally important in the context of the COP21. And with negotiations progressing, we in the Scottish Government, we very much hope that it will be a big step forward and that other countries can match and that they will match Scotland's ambition in the years ahead. And a clear signal from Paris will provide that certainty about a global low-carbon future, just as we did in Scotland in 2009. So post-Paris, a progressive agenda will be driven by our non-state actors such as devolved state and regional governments like Scotland, along with our cities, our businesses and our public. And in that context, I very much believe that initiatives, like Energy Unlocked will, aim to unlock that innovation that is required to solve the global energy, trilemma will be absolutely invaluable. So, ladies and gentlemen, I really do genuinely want to wish Molly and the rest of the team, good luck and my very best wishes. And certainly I look forward to hearing more, about the innovation that will be unlocked as a result of their work. So thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for the opportunity to come here tonight and to speak about Scotland's experience. And I look forward to continuing to work with you all. Thank you very much.